This is a screencast on exit strategy performed by Team Trump. My name is William Brown.
I'm Lysandra Pearson.
I'm Brian Porterfield.
Trevor Woodworth.
What is an exit strategy? An exit strategy refers to cashing out in an investment. So it's basically your way out of a business. There are 5 types of exit strategies. The first one is merger and acquisition, or M&A. This normally means merging with a similar company or being bought out by a larger company. This is a win-win situation when bordering companies have complementary skills and can save resources by combining. For bigger companies, it is a more efficient and quicker way to grow their revenue than creating new products organically. The second type is initial public offering, or IPO. This used to be the preferred mode and the quick way to riches. But since the internet bubble burst in the year 2000, the IPO rate has declined every year since 2010 and is now at about 15%. Shareholders are demanding and liability concerns are high. The third type of exit strategy is selling to a friendly individual. This is not an M&A since it is not combining 2 entities into one. Yet it is a great way to cash out so you can pay investors, pay yourself, take some time off, and get ready to have some fun all over again. The ideal buyer is someone who has more skills and interests on the operational side of the business and can scale it. The fourth type is make it your cash cow. If you are in a stable, secure marketplace with a business that has a steady revenue stream, pay off investors, find someone you trust to run it for you while you use the remaining cash to develop your next great idea. You retain ownership and enjoy the annuity, but cash cows seem to need constant feeding to stay healthy. The fifth and final type is liquidation and close. Even lifetime entrepreneurs can decide that enough is enough. One often overlooked exit strategy is simply to shut down, close the business doors, and liquidate. Selling to your employees is another type of exit strategy. Employee ownership can take several forms. Employee stock ownership plans, or ESOPs, are very similar to a pension plan, with all company contributions used to buy company stock. Employees can be given incentives through other forms of equity, such as stock options, stock purchase plans, and performance-based stock bonuses. This allows the owner to have control over the company while the shares are available to the employees. Equity compensation creates a great working environment beneficial to growing businesses. It is possible for the founder to sell shares back to the company or the ESOP. However, there are significant legal complications of this strategy, so you should do some research before you decide to do so. Passing control to your family is another exit strategy. Giving ownership to the owner's family is more common than most people think, although tax laws in the United States limit this option to $10,000 a year for gifts from a single U.S. citizen to each heir. The tax implications of passing a business to your family through your estate are overwhelming. It's best to use this exit strategy early in the life of the business, when the share price is low and the owner has plenty of time to give it away.
Next, we're going to talk about succession planning and exit planning. First, we're going to talk about succession planning. Succession planning is the process of identifying successors within a business and providing them with an opportunity to develop their skills and experience in order to replace the existing leaders of the business at a future date. Succession planning focuses on the transfer of the company from one person to the next. And this could also be called the business continuity approach. And next, we're going to talk about exit planning. Exit planning is the comprehensive analysis of all the factors that impact a business owner. Exit planning addresses current and future planning, or for example, the company's value, the employees, and the current position in the market, It also addresses their family and addresses their community. Next, we're going to talk about 7-step process of exit planning. Step 1. Determine your personal and business goals. Integrating these is important because so much of the owner's wealth is in the business, and taxes are a major consideration. Step 2. Determining the value of the business. If you don't know what the true market value of the business is today, how can the owner know what the value needs to be successfully to exit? Step 3. Promote, protect, and preserve the value of the business. Placing value drivers such as key employee compensation that reward growth will ensure that what value has been built will not be diluted. It also lays the groundwork for measured growth. Step 4. Sell to insiders. As may be the case with family businesses and/or businesses with solid key employees / management, or an employee stock ownership plan or ESOP like Brian said earlier. Step 5. Sell to a third party. This could be a competitor in your industry, a strategic buyer, a private equity company, or etc. Step 6. Ensure overall business continuing. Are employment agreements in place with key management to ensure stability if the owner leaves or is ill? Stay bonuses or other arrangements can be drafted to guarantee stability of management. Make sure all necessary documents and funding are in place in the event that the owner dies, gets disabled, becomes disinterested, or divorced by other partners to ensure the business will not fail and the heirs are compensated fairly. Step 7. Financial and estate plan. After all time invested in building the business and finally exiting, the largest tax ever paid is the one levied the year the owner is not there to defend against the state levy by the IRS, due in 9 months and only due in cash. In addition, does the after-tax proceeds from the sale, along with other financial assets, provide the lifestyle to which the owner has become accustomed to? These are big things to think about whenever you're doing exit planning process.
Next, we're going to talk about going public. Going public refers to a private company's initial public offering, or IPO, thus becoming a publicly traded and owned entity. Businesses usually go public to raise capital in hopes of expanding. Venture capitalists may use IPOs as an exit strategy. While they are frequently used as exit strategies, they're really not. It's more of a financing strategy. While it is clever to do, it's not sustainable, as public markets aren't a particularly good source of long-term, stable investment capital in high-growth companies.
The last exit strategy we're going to talk about is liquidating. In law and business, liquidation is the process by which a company or part of a company is brought to an end, and the assets and the property of the company are redistributed. There are 2 types of liquidation: voluntary and compulsory. Liquidations are also classified according to whether the company is solvent or insolvent. If the company is insolvent, this means it is unable to pay its debts as they fall due. In this situation, there is potential conflict between creditors, as there will be insufficient assets for all creditors to be paid in full. Voluntary liquidation refers to the process whereby the shareholders appoint a liquidator, who is then answerable to the creditors or shareholders. Voluntary liquidation may be in one of 2 forms, depending on whether or not the company is solvent. If the company is solvent, the shareholders can supervise the liquidation. However, if the company is insolvent, the creditors may take control of the liquidation process by applying to the court. The court will require proof of solvency or insolvency to determine this matter. Compulsory liquidation of a company requires obtaining a court order. This process starts with an application to the court alleging that one or more of the required grounds exist. The application may be brought by the company or a majority of its directors, or by the registrar of companies, or by a creditor. Applications by creditors are by far the most important and common. The procedure for liquidation. There are four main steps to the liquidation process. A liquidator is appointed either by a company's shareholder passing a resolution, this is voluntary liquidation, or by the court making an order, which is compulsory liquidation. The liquidator collects the assets of the company, including uncalled capital, amounts unpaid on shares, and pays the creditors in order of priority. The liquidator distributes any surplus funds to the shareholders. And then finally, the company is then fully dissolved. Let's talk about consequences of liquidating a company. The company no longer has the power to dispose of its property. The company may carry on business only for the limited purpose of completing the liquidation process. The powers of the company's directors come to an end when a liquidator is appointed. A liquidation order operates as a notice of dismissal to all of the company's employees. It's important to note, however, that if an employee is on a fixed-term contract and is required under this contract to be given a period of notice, then a liquidation order will breach this and the employee will be entitled to damages, and these damages can be expensive.
Thank you for watching Screencast on exit strategies performed by Team Trump today. Here's our works cited page.